La emisión está comenzando. Todos los asistentes están en modo de solo escucha.
Hello everyone, welcome to this webinar about the Juniper White Label tool. My name is Manon Gilden and I am part of the Sales Consultants team. Before we start, you will see that you have a panel on the right side of your screen where you will be able to ask questions during the webinar. And when we finish, I will try and dedicate a few minutes to answering them. In case it would not be possible or if any question is left unanswered, we will review these afterwards and contact you by email to answer it more thoroughly. Also, and for those of you who are watching this video at a later stage, at the end of this webinar, you will find our contact address in case you have any doubts. Our team will be happy to help. So on today's agenda, as always, we will start with a short introduction about the module and we will inform you a little bit about what the tool can do, what its objective is, and further along, we will explain to you how it works and what the benefits are of contracting this module. Next, we give you a short demo live following all of the steps that were previously explained in order to provide you also with some visual examples. Finally, we will conclude the webinar with a brief summary, and at the end I will inform you where you can find the information about this module on the Juniper support tool and where you can view this webinar again as it is being recorded. So we start again with this diagram in which we give some context to this module. So here we have an overview of all modules that are currently available in Juniper. On the left side, we can see the product to be sold, coming from both external suppliers as well as own contracting. And then the rules of all these products are defined in what we call the Juniper back office or the intranet, which is the middle column, where you can configure your clients, your intranet users, your business rules such as markups, commission, taxes, etc. Right? And then on the right side, we can see all the different types of distribution channels that Juniper offers. In case of the white label tool, we can see here that this will be an additional distribution channel as we are creating white labels on which we can sell our product under the brand of our clients. Now let me explain a little bit more about what the white label tool is exactly. The reason we have created the Juniper white label tool is to be able to offer our clients the option to autonomously create white labels simply and easily for their agencies and/or customers. The system allows to create as many white labels as necessary. You can create up to 5 white labels for free, as the first 5 are included in the module when contracted. And from the 6th white label onwards, only a small fee, license and maintenance is required, which will be invoiced automatically when the white label is live. We will see later on how we can detect whether an additional white label is being invoiced or not. So how does it work? In this case, we have 2 sections that require configuration. Configuration of the white label's basic requirements, such as the channel for which the white label should be created, the business mode, whether it's B2B, B2C, or mixed, the access mode in terms of the link we use, if email notifications should be sent from a different email than defined for the channel by default, and last but not least, web configuration for the customization of the white label. And for this latter section, which is the web configuration of the white label, we can see here that we or the agency itself can configure contact data and logo. Note here that the logo as well as the phone number defined will appear in the header of the page. We can indicate when login should be requested from the user, whether it's directly upon entering on the website, whether it is on when they want to book, etc. We can also define what social media links we want to show on the website. These are configured from the content management section, so this will have to be done for the agency as they will not have access to your intranet normally. And we can choose the color palette as well that we want to use from the ones available. We can also configure the products that we want to be able to sell, not to be confused with the menu configuration, as we want to be able to sell the product. We may want to be able to sell the product, but we don't want it to be visible for the final user, for example. The menu configuration will allow to indicate the products to be sold as well as their order of appearance by dragging them around to change position. And then we have the menu configuration of the search box, because in case we have multiple products or product types available on our website, the search box on the homepage will also have several options. And last but not least, there is also on this slide the footer links, which basically refer to contact us section, for example, terms and conditions, etc. We will view that later on when we do the live demo. So we have an idea now as to how it works, but what are the possible benefits of contracting this module? By contracting the white label tool, you will have a greater distribution of your products using the commercial brands of your clients and or partners. Furthermore, you do not need any assistance from Juniper once the initial configurations have been done, of course, as the management and maintenance of the white labels can be done directly from the intranet. And also, not less important, you will be able to offer some advantages to your clients or partners as well, such as being able to sell under their own brand without having to invest additional time. It gives them the chance to complement their own product and promote their brand with new offers without having the responsibility of set products, which saves time in contracting, booking management, cancellations, complaints, and so much more. So it is an easy way to increase traffic and sales on their website without having to increase operational cost. So let's move on now to the live demo, in which I will show you on our demo intranet where this module can be found and what the steps are to be followed to create a white label and customize it. So here we are on our demo intranet, and we have landed directly on the section of the white label management section. We can find it under customers, white labels management. So when we first start working with this module, obviously there will be no information here, and we will need to start working with a new file. So when we click on this, we can see the following fields coming up to be configured. The first one is where we define the channel. So when we contract this module and we start working with it, we need to make sure that when we talk about channels, we have defined one of our channels as white label channel, which means that we can use that channel as a base to create the white label. In this case, we only have one, so we have it by default as white label. The next one is the business mode, which is where we define what type of access we want to give, whether it's a B2C access, a B2B, or a mixed access, so we can choose all of them. And we can also indicate what agency we want to associate to a white label. Only one agency can have one white label assigned. And in order to do that, the agency must have this box checked to indicate that it's a category leader. So I'm right now on the agency file, the agency maintenance section, and we need to mark this box for it to be able to relate white labels to this agency. Next, we have the access mode. We can see that when we create a white label for the first time, it will show deep link by default. We cannot modify it, but we will be able to modify it once we continue and we saved it, and we then go back into the file. We will be able to also define some other things. The next field would be the email from, which I mentioned before, is to show when notifications are sent. So this would be the email from where they have been sent. And we have the channel URL, as well as the option to activate the white label configuration. Then we have two options. We can save it as a draft or template, or we can save and register as the white label that we are going to use. So now we have our white label created, and we still need to modify some things, such as the access mode, right? We saw before that we could not modify it. Now we can see that once it's created, we cannot modify the other fields, but we can indicate what kind of access we want to give. So whether we want to use a deep link, which was the default option, whether we want to use a own URL in case your agency wants to use their specific URL, or we can use a subdomain. This information is then displayed here. So as we had the deep link as a default option, the system generates this always, And then below we can indicate what URL we want to use for this particular white label. And then we can also see some additional checkboxes, which are invoice and Juniper confirmation URL. The invoice checkbox basically indicates whether you are being invoiced for this white label. And this is done from the moment that Juniper, here on this check, has been able to verify the link that you have introduced here. So this is an automatic process. Once you indicate here a URL to use for the white label, our system will verify that it's a valid link, and then we will mark this checkbox automatically to show that, that it's been verified, and then we can start invoicing you as long as the white label is active. Okay. When we have several white labels configured here, we can see that we have several filters available. By default, these are hidden, but we can show them to go and do a more specific search by channel, by business mode, by access mode, agency, etc. And like I said, it is a template, basically refers to whether we have some saved as a draft or not. So here we can view the list of everything that we've saved so far, and we can see that this list can be modified. So we have the columns available and we can play with them to make sure that we're seeing what we need to see. And we can also move them around to make it visually easier to work with. And then we also have some direct action, some interactive options here on this panel. So for example, we can go to the deep link directly of the URL. If we do so, we can see that it goes by default to the deep link URL and it lands on the page, or we can use the URL of the customer in case it is different. Then we can go and also enter the direct access configuration, which takes us directly to the website configuration of the white label. And last but not least, we can modify whether it's active or inactive. When we click on it, the system will ask us if we want to change the status, and we can delete it in case we do not want the white label anymore. Okay, so moving on to the web configuration. Like I said, there's two ways to enter the website. We can click on one of the URLs here. If we do this, we will normally not be logged in. I'm logged in at this moment because I was logged in before. But if we log out and go down to the footer section, we can see admin access, so that the administrator, which is the agency we related to the white label, can access with their usual credentials that we had configured for them on the agency maintenance section. In this case, I'm going back to enter with the direct access configuration, which will automatically log me in. And then we can see that I'm now logged in as the associated agency. And if I go to agents area, I can see that I can go to this section through the web configuration option. So what we can configure here, as we saw before in the presentation, is the name of the white label, the logo. We can upload it and it will appear here on the left side of the header. We can indicate address, phone number, and fax. The phone number will also be shown here in the header, and all of this information will be shown on the voucher of the bookings that are being made. The next section would be the social network section. So the social media that we want to show on the website, we can indicate whether we want to show it by marking it as active, and we can indicate the URL to redirect. And once we have this, what we will show is here in the footer. So when the client clicks on this, they should go to the link that you have configured in that section. And in order for the logo to appear, we need to go to the content management section. So in this case, if we go to the content management section, we look for our white label from the agency, because we will see that we have a section called white labels, and each agency has their own white label section for the contents of their website. And if we want to modify the logos of the social media, we need to go to the logo section under the master file. And here we can upload the logos for those social media we want to show. Furthermore, we have the color palette. So we can see here that we have 5 different options available. By default, these are standard options. And if you would want to have different colors, this will have to be discussed first with the project manager, as well as our front-end development team to verify the possibilities. Next up, we have the products. And as I was explaining on the presentation, this is not to be confused with the ones that we will see in the menu. We can, for example, want to be able to sell a product, but not necessarily visualize it on the website. So maybe we want to provide the agency with the option to sell offline of some sort in case a client has a special request, so that they are able to sell the product, book the product, but it won't be visible by default for their clients. Then we have the menu configuration. So here we will indicate what products will be visible to book on the website. We can change position if we want to. And the same goes for the searcher menu, which basically should be a reflection of what we've defined on the main menu. And then last but not least, we have the footer links, which is what we see here: who we are, contact, privacy policy, and this is to be configured by activating them, because the management is done from the content management section. So the terms and conditions, privacy policy, everything is managed from here. Okay. So now that we have seen what it is, how it works, and what benefits it could bring you, let's go over a small summary. So what can we do with the Juniper white label tool? We can sell our products using the branding of our partners and of our customers. We can create as many white labels as we deem necessary. We can set up a white label for each of our agencies if required. White labels are generated by replicating the design of the main channel. We can determine the format of the white label, whether it's B2C, B2B, or mixed. We can offer different types of access links. We can customize the white label to match the branding of our partner or customer. And last but not least, we do not need any further configuration or assistance from Juniper side, as everything can be managed from the intranet, as we just saw. Sorry. If you want to view this webinar again, you can go to our YouTube channel, which is accessible through our corporate website, ejuniper.com. And we can also, you can also go to the section on the Juniper support system and view the white label tool content there to review more information. As I am seeing that there are currently no questions for this module, I thank you all for your time. I hope you've enjoyed this webinar. Should you have any queries, please feel free to send an email to salesconsultants@ejuniper.com, and we will be happy to assist you. Thank you all.